What's up, everybody? So, this is the first time in a long time that I've had both Facebook and YouTube together live streaming because you guys know I've been banned on there for the longest time. So, I have both audiences together today. You guys won't see each other. So, if you're watching on Facebook, you'll be able to interact with the chat there. Same thing with YouTube. But this is going to be a short stream. I mean it because it's election day and I'm hoping that those of you watching have already voted. But if you are watching and you haven't, I'm going to keep it short just so that you can go out and vote. It's just, man, I have so many thoughts. I have so many emotions right now that it's hard to really put it into words. Like, I just got home. I'm back in Florida after all that traveling. I've been on the road for like 2 months straight. I haven't gotten much sleep. I've been traveling in and out of airports. I battled a cold. Yes, it was a cold. It was not the Rona. It was a cold. I beat that. And yeah, here I am at home. And it just feels like the last 2 months have just been a blur. The last 4 years have been a blur. And it just feels like from the moment that President Trump got elected, we've all been waiting for the moment for him to be reelected, just to kind of like reaffirm everything. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But anyway, I wait for a nice little crowd to join. I see we got people on YouTube. We got people on Facebook. You guys know the drill. Give it a like, give it a share. Let's move it up in the algorithms. Let's get a crowd watching for the middle of the day. It's what, 1:30 Eastern. But yeah, I appreciate all the new people that have joined on and subscribed to me, have followed me on Twitter. I get DMs all the time I can't even go through all of them, honestly, quite frankly. But I think now that I'm gonna have like at least a couple weeks of downtime, I would like to go through all the messages and try to respond to people individually, because that's what I like to do. I was doing that from the beginning, and just because my platform is bigger doesn't mean I can't do that now. So also, I'm using natural lighting today, so if it gets dim, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a ring light or anything yet, but anyway, yeah, guys. So today it's election day. This is it. I mean, the entire world is watching what happens, and is everybody on the globe is on the edge of their seat to see how this plays out, because there's so many implications. But before I get into all of that, I just want to say what a blessing it is to be where I am. I feel so grateful that God put me in a position to be able to travel and see the country, do what I love, connect with so many people, and have such a big platform to reach hundreds of thousands of people. So last night was our all-time record for Right Side Broadcasting as far as concurrent viewers. We had like, I want to say it was like 193,000 people. Our goal was obviously 200,000 because, we had to take little steps. Back in like 2016 and 2017, before I joined RSBN, let me turn this light on. I'll just use regular light, whatever. Anyway, back in like 2017, 2018, early on, before I joined, they weren't getting a lot of views. They were being shadow banned by YouTube, and they were getting like maybe 30,000 views and didn't have a lot of subscribers. But over the past like several years, it's just grew and grew and grew and grew. And starting this year with the election, it just really grew. It just expanded. So anyway, the views got up and we reached 193,000 viewers. And the stream, I believe the one from Lansing too, but I know the one that I did in Kenosha has like 1.3 million views. So that's a lot of eyeballs that got to see President Trump's final two speeches of his campaign, this historic campaign. He crisscrossed the entire upper Midwest on just a blitz of rally after rally after rally. I mean, just insanity. 5 rallies in one day. I've struggled to do one in one day. That's how crazy busy and how energetic this man is. So it's just been a blessing to be a part of all that. It's been a blessing to reach out to so many people and have so many people say, Mike, you've changed me. You like your truth and everything that you say just resonates with me. And people saying like, wow, I didn't know anything about the party switch. Like dating back to even before I joined RSBN, I've been reaching people with my platform, albeit a smaller one compared to other conservative heavyweights, I guess you could call them that. it's unbelievable. So I find myself reflecting on all of that because it feels like, I won't say that the work that I've done in this political realm is finished, but I feel like I can kick back and breathe a sigh of relief because I've been, without even really truly realizing it, I've been campaigning for the president, not just the president. It goes even beyond Trump. It really does. It's about personal freedom. It's about liberty. It's about truth. It's about God. It's about so much more than just the president or Republicans or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than that. And it just feels great to be a part of something bigger than that. But I was fighting for that and it wore me down and made me so tired, but I just kept pushing through and persevering. And so I say all that to say, on election day, I feel light. My spirit feels light. I feel good. I'm happy. I feel energetic. I feel like I can just kick back tonight on my couch and watch it unfold because we all know what we want to happen, but anybody that tells you that they know what is going to happen is an actual liar. Nobody knows how this is going to play out. We know how we want it to play out. We can speculate. We can watch whatever. If you want to watch CNN to see what they have to say, just so you can get their perspective. I was watching it on the plane. I'm just curious what they say, what they think. I watch Fox News. I watch independent media. It doesn't really matter. You can just kick back and watch it unfold, but nobody actually knows how this is going to play out. So let's stop pretending. We can pray, which I've done plenty of, prayed for the right outcome, prayed that people's minds and hearts have opened and they have seen what is at stake, what is on the ballot. It is not just policy. It is a spiritual battle. There's so much evil that has come out. So much has been exposed. So much darkness has come to light in the year 2020 alone that it's a great awakening. The consciousness of the planet is rising. People are they're awake to what's happening. And you've seen it not just in the United States. You've seen it in Europe. You've seen it in Brazil. You've seen it in all these countries where they have essentially elected their version of a Trump, which is a populist who is against or outside of their established political spectrum and somebody who can unite several broad coalitions of people. That's what you're seeing, not just here. It's all around the world. So it's all just, I feel like it's coming to pass right now. Like it's all coming ahead and we're going to see how it plays out. I mean, if you ask me, I don't think we're going to get a clear cut answer tonight. I think it's probably going to look like a red tsunami. I think it's going to look like that because of the mail-in votes, right? And what they said, what are they calling it? Like a red mirage or whatever. I think it's going to look like that, but it could also look like it's very close. It could be a nail biter. We really don't know. But I just think that either way it goes, I don't think we're going to get our like solid answer tonight because why would they allow that to happen? Especially if it's in Trump's favor. Now, if it's looking like it's going Biden's way, of course, they're going to call it election. They're like, yep, Biden won. Biden won. It's over. But I mean, the governor of Pennsylvania himself already said it's going to take several days just to count the mail-in votes. So I don't think we'll get an answer on Pennsylvania. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's so much is up in the air. So much is unknown. So the best thing we can all do is just chill. Because if you campaigned, if you waved flags, if you talked to friends and family, if you showed up to rallies, if you did whatever, shared my videos, shared right side videos, and then you cast your ballot, you've done everything you can do. So it's outside of your control. There's no point of stress. And I don't feel stressed even a little bit, not even a little bit, because I feel like I've done everything within my power to get this man elected and to save this sovereign, free country. That's all I can do. I mean, for 4 years, well, 3.5 years, because this is the thing, guys. 4 years ago in 2016, when Trump got elected the first time, I knew next to nothing about politics. I wasn't paying attention. I was just in my own little bubble, just living up there in Minneapolis. I was partying, just hanging out, just having a good time. It wasn't until after he got elected that I started paying attention and I started focusing. And I feel like God just opened my eyes to all these things happening. And then he called me into battle. He uses my voice to deliver his word, not necessarily like from a biblical like scripture type deal, but like, you know, the truth, the anointed feeling. Like I'm saying things that would pretty much kind of how like Trump is being used. Like God can use people. He works in mysterious ways, just like he used King Saul and whatever else. You know what I'm saying? So I've been used by God to reach people, and I think that I've done that. I've reached out to so many people. So many people in my family have looked at my videos. They've looked into other people's videos. They've awakened to the mass manipulation, the matrix, if you want to call it that. They've shattered the matrix. They've broken free from the enslavement. The enslavement was so subtle that people didn't even realize it. They were on autopilot. That's how they wanted it. They wanted an obedient, subservient mind, and they had it. They had it. But they don't have it anymore. And that's why we're seeing all of this craziness. And I'm going to get into it. Some of the funny stuff, some of the more serious stuff. That's why you've seen all of the crazy stuff happen over the past 4 years, because they've lost their grip. They've lost their control. Right. And I think it reached a fever pitch this year with COVID. Like everything else they tried to throw at this man to destroy him has not stuck. They tried everything. Russia collusion. They tried impeachment. I mean, some could say that, I mean, we don't know how he got that virus, but he got the virus coincidentally in an election year. We get this pandemic, and the president, the most hated person in American politics, just so happens to get the virus, but he beat that too. You know what I'm saying? Every single thing that they've thrown at this man has not stuck. And that can't be anything but God. God doesn't make mistakes. He is not surprised by anything. And I just think that all of the heightened stuff, we saw riots, we saw crazy wildfires, we've seen all these hurricanes hitting the Gulf Coast, more than a normal year. You know what I'm saying? Like 5 hurricanes hit Louisiana, something crazy like that. The riots in Philly, riots in Seattle, right? And they're preparing for more. They're boarding up in all these cities. So all of this stuff, and he still is right there. And not only right there, he's as spry as ever. He has more energy than a 20-something-year-old. He has more energy than just anybody that you can name right now. He's like an athlete just sprinting across the country. But, you know, I've got people that I've reached, and they've awakened to everything that's happened right now. And it feels like my work may not be done, but I feel like I've done a lot. I've done a lot to move the needle significantly. I got 2 nephews that were not old enough to vote. Well, maybe the older one was old enough to vote in 2016, 2016, but I don't think he did. But my younger nephew, this is his first election he's going to vote in. I don't know who he's going to vote for, but I know that he is a free, independent thinker now. He looks at things and analyzes it, comes to his own conclusions. That's all I could ask for. If he ends up voting for Biden, hey, at least he made an informed decision, and he made the decision that was best for him. And there's countless other people outside of my family, people that are outside of my sphere of influence, who have reached out and said, oh, I sent your videos to my uncle who's been hard-headed all these years, or, you know, my sons and daughters, they're in college and they're so brainwashed, they want to be communists and blah, blah, blah. But I sent them your videos, and hopefully it gets through to them. That's what this is all about, is trying to raise the awareness of the collective consciousness and just try to be a more unified people, but on an individual level. The best way to improve the world and make the world a better place is by you improving yourself. And I just feel like it sounds like I'm saying something so profound and earth shattering. I know you guys are probably saying stuff in the comments, but it's like, this is like the most basic level common sense stuff. This is right. You determine your own outcome. You are in the driver's seat, or you're co-creating it with God. Like, you trust God and believe in yourself, work hard, and you will achieve. It's really that simple. But that embodies the American spirit. And that's what so many people on the left just don't get, or they don't care about. They would rather have things go their way when they want it to happen, and we should artificially create this utopian society. It's never going to happen. And that's what I've been talking about for so many years. It's just never going to happen. We have to accept that there's not going to be equal outcome. There's not equal outcome in the animal kingdom. There's not equal outcome amongst humans. There never has been. There never will be. And no entity called government is ever going to facilitate that. If you think about 99% of the world's problems are actually caused by government, caused by overreach, caused by government intervention, trying to play God, which is why I say it's spiritual warfare, trying to undermine God, right? That propaganda, the Kamala Harris video, that was directly just undermining God. Like, no, actually, we have to create equity. And we do that by doing this. It's like, that's not how it works. You can't just ignore natural abilities and talents. We can't all be LeBron James. We can't all dunk a basketball. We can't all be whatever super talented person you can think of. We can't all play the guitar all crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like common sense stuff. But anyway, I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole on that because I do have a list of things I want to get to as it relates to the election, but I had to get that out of the way here. So let me have a sip of water. And let's have some fun just talking, just freestyling about these topics. Okay, so I kind of covered this a little bit yesterday at the live stream, or in the live stream in Kenosha, Wisconsin, but mad Maxine Waters. I'm going to get this one out of the way quick because I had to elaborate a little bit more. I didn't want to do it too much on the live stream yesterday just because it wasn't about her. But man, President Trump once famously said, Maxine Waters is a very low IQ individual. And I'm just curious to know, what exactly did he get wrong? I mean, does she not say very stupid, very dumb things? This is why I say they're so frustrated, which is why they're lashing out. That to me, when she says, I'll never forgive you, not like we need her forgiveness. That's her lashing out because she's lost control. I pray that Joe Collins unseats her because they need change. Does change not need to happen? I mean, she's running that district and it's like a third world district. I mean, kids can't read at grade level. There's so much crime and homelessness and trash. She has the nerve, the audacity to say that she won't forgive people who step off the plantation and have the audacity to think for themselves and decide they're going to vote for President Trump or vote for Joe Collins. It's like a temper tantrum. So, I mean, for her to say that, it just means she knows that she's losing. She's losing. She can see it. They no longer can say, oh, Trump just has a bunch of white supremacists. That's the only people that support him. It's the rural whites. It's like, well, how do you explain the Hispanic supporters, the black supporters, the immigrant supporters? There's a, like I said, broad coalitions of people support this president. That is well established. And that's why they are screeching. That's why they're panicking. They're scared because they know that the truth is coming out and people are catching on. They're going to vote accordingly. And as President Trump said, the best is yet to come. But I think there's really a whole lot more that's going to happen, a whole lot more that's going to come out. We just have to stay the course. Keep the vibrations high, keep the energy high. Don't feed into toxic energy. Don't look into like, oh, they're trying to steal Texas. I know somebody emailed me or sent me something about they're trying to steal Texas with mail. That ain't happening. They're not stealing Texas. I don't even know why they're talking about Texas as if it's a swing state. I heard them talking about Arizona and Texas and Georgia are swing states. No, they're not. They're not swing states. They might be becoming battleground states, but that's not the same thing as a swing state. A swing state, what does a swing mean? It goes back and forth, back and forth. Has Texas ever voted Democrat? I don't know. Maybe before my lifetime. I don't know. But Texas is not a swing state. Neither is Arizona. Arizona's a purple state. Georgia is becoming more competitive. I think they have Democrats, obviously, at the legislative level, in the Senate or the House, whatever. But those are not swing states. They're battleground states, which means obviously they're, Joe Biden and the Democrats are trying to get those states. But you know what state they're not talking about that is a battleground state? California. So if the Democrats are trying to take Texas and they think they're going to take Texas, then why aren't Republicans trying to take California? Matter of fact, if Texas happens to go blue at some point, well, California is right there for the picking because California has 55 electoral votes. So Texas 38, California 55. Play the same game. If there was one thing I could have advised the president on, it would have been to hold at least 2, maybe 3 rallies in California. That could have potentially made a difference. I know some people say it's a long shot. California will never go red. Never say never. They said Trump couldn't win. A lot of things that they say couldn't happen happened. So I just think that like the whole gaslighting, like, oh, Georgia's in play. They won't show Texas as being decisive. Like for Trump, they don't want to show it as red yet. You know how they have the little map and they play around with it? They're just trying to get in people's head. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to get in people's head. There's no way in my mind that Texas goes blue. Not tonight. I don't see it happening in 4 years. Maybe if we don't crack down on immigration and restore some kind of patriotic doctrine in the schools, we stop churning out communists out of college, get some intellectual diversity in colleges, people will, I don't know, maybe it's wishful thinking, but people won't be so quick to vote for these policies. But immigration is the key there for Texas. I mean, same with California. I mean, California, a lot of people who leave California move to Colorado. That's why I think Colorado turned blue, is because California started sucking and a lot of people fled California, but voted for the exact same thing that they fled, and Colorado turned blue on top of the sanctuary cities and all that stuff. That just made it blue. So now it's kind of like a stronghold, but it's not so strong because it's only been since 2008 when it flipped for Obama that it became a Democrat state. So it's not too far gone. I'm just saying they got to play the game. Democrats are playing the game. Republicans need to play that game too. Because again, it's really not about the two parties. It's about the ideals. It's about the values. It's about the policies. It's about understanding why this country is so blessed and so prosperous and so free, and why it's important to keep it that way. And that government is never going to be able to give you everything you want, because if they do, they can take it all away. So there's that. And I think I started that topic on Maxine Waters. So I don't know how I ended up there, but nonetheless, let's keep it moving. Did anybody see the fake Kamala Harris that Laura Loomer caught? So you can't, again, desperation. Why do you guys have an imposter, a fake Kamala Harris, down at a polling station in Florida, and Laura Loomer caught her on camera? I wish I could pull up the photo. Maybe I can. Maybe I can share my screen and pull it up. But if you haven't seen it, there was a fake Kamala Harris out there taking pictures with people. She had the mask on. She had the hair, the skin tone, everything, pretending to be Kamala Harris. And I don't think it was Halloween. So they're trying to play these games with minorities and make it seem like, oh, it's just so cringy. I hate it. It's the worst thing, because it's all the play for the minority vote. The only reason Kamala Harris was even selected to be his running mate is because she's a female and a person of color, not because she was qualified, not because she was the best person for the job, but because of stupid, superficial reasons. That is the dumbest reason to hire somebody for a job, especially a job that important. It's not like Hooters. Okay, it makes sense why a restaurant called Hooters might want to be a little superficial with their recruiting. But when you're talking about a policymaker, somebody who has their hand on the nuclear code, somebody that can pull the levers of power, somebody that can shape and have an impact on your daily life with their policy, you should be picking the best person. But they don't understand that. That's not important to them. But it's just crazy that they're using these imposters. Kamala Harris, to try to appeal to black voters. Fake Kamala Harris at that. I mean, the real Kamala Harris is fake too, but this Kamala Harris was actually not Kamala Harris. So anyway, Laura Loomer caught that and exposed it, and I thought that was hilarious. What else? Oh yeah, hold on. Let's talk about the shy, because they're saying, I saw it, I don't know if it was MSNBC or whatever. They're talking about the shy Biden voters, right? You know, we talk about like, oh, the silent majority for Trump, like a bunch of people that are going to vote for Trump, but will never say it. They'll never get a MAGA hat. They'll never tell anybody. You will never know. Or they're registered Democrat and they're going to vote for Trump. So even though they're saying like, oh, look at all these Democrats that voted early, like, yeah, but you don't know how they voted. So you can't bank on them all voting for Biden, especially when Biden is like a trash candidate. They say that, well, there's probably really a shy Biden voter out there. Yeah, there probably is. There's shy Trump voters, but there's shy Biden voters. There's a difference between the two, okay? I'll tell you the difference. A shy Biden voter is shy to vote for him because they're embarrassed. They're ashamed to vote for him. They're not enthusiastic about that vote. Matter of fact, I'm willing to bet that 90% of the people I know that hate Trump, they have Trump derangement syndrome, they're not excited about Joe Biden. Of course, they'll probably tell people, oh, yeah, I voted for Biden. They didn't do it enthusiastically. They went into the voting booth with one thing on their mind, Trump. That's the only reason they circled Biden. Let's just be real about it. Don't be fake. This is why they did it, because they hate Trump, not because they love Biden. So there's plenty of people out there, even with all of his gaffes, that they still are doing mental gymnastics or just looking the other way. Like, no, he didn't do that. He did not just say or whatever he said. That didn't happen. That was a deep fake from right-wing conspiracy theorists. They're just spreading Russian misinformation on Twitter. Whatever goes through their head to justify the Biden vote. There's shy Biden voters out there because they're ashamed and embarrassed to say that they have so much vitriol and hate in their heart for a president who probably doesn't even know they exist, never met them. They still have that much hatred that they're like, I would rather have my taxes raised. I'd rather see the country completely destroyed. I'd rather have the stock market tank, the businesses closed via COVID, than to have 4 more years of the president. Those people are the shy Biden voters. Now, the shy Trump voter is somebody who's probably afraid to lose their job. There's a very big difference between a shy Biden voter and a shy Trump voter. A shy Trump voter is probably concerned of judgment. They're concerned that they would lose their job. They're probably concerned about violence, because how long have they been saying Trump supporters should be eradicated? Yes, somebody said that. Reza Aslan or whatever, the dude that ate human brain, said Trump supporters should be eradicated. Maxine Waters said don't tolerate them in public. And what did we see right after that? We started seeing violence. Trump supporters have been murdered. They've been run off the road. For as much as they're talking about, oh, Biden and Harris, their bus almost got ran off the road in Texas. Like, we got the receipts on that. See, they keep lying, even though the truth is right there. They don't even care that they put out a lie knowing that it's going to be quickly discredited. They say, oh, they're trying to run them off the road. That's not even close to true. These Trump supporters, you got to watch them at the polling station. They're aggressive. The Proud Boys, watch out. They're aggressive. Well, like 5 months ago, weren't they emboldening all these Antifa and BLM activists to go beat up Trump supporters? So now all of a sudden on election day, they're afraid of them? Give me a break. You can poke holes through these arguments so easily. But the shy Trump voter is afraid of being assaulted, being fired, having their whole livelihoods destroyed, being snuffed out by these doxers online, that they're like, I'm just gonna chill. I'm not going to a rally. I won't make any political posts. I will never get a MAGA hat. I know some of these people. I know them. They're like, I just want my vote to be my business, which is kind of how it should be if you think about it. They want their vote to be their business. They don't want the world to know, and they're afraid. So that is the difference between a shy Biden voter and a shy Trump voter. I just think that's funny that they're trying so hard in the 11th hour to gaslight you. I love that President Trump in his past, like the screens that he had at his rallies, that was genius because he was able to air all of Biden's lies, all of his gaffes, his flip-flopping on fracking and packing the Supreme Court, his record, all the stuff he said is brilliant because they cannot deny it. It's on camera and it's making a difference. I think it made a difference in Pennsylvania for sure with the fracking videos. But the media is still going to carry the water for him, still going to prop him up and try to dust him off and make it seem like he's got the lead. I mean, here's the thing. We all are trusting the polls, aren't we? Or no matter if you trust the polls or not, you're going to be trusting some information you get, whether it's from Tucker Carlson or Anderson Cooper or some independent source, Ben Shapiro, whoever it is, whatever source you have for information on how this election plays out, you're putting some kind of trust in it, right? Because you yourself can't go out and count all the ballots. You can't know how many votes actually came in. So how do you know that they're not just going to lie? They could all get together and say, let's just say that Biden won. Let's just say it. We can all just get together and plan. We're all just going to report that Biden won. How could anyone stop them from doing that? And what would stop people from believing it? You know what I mean? It's like we're putting trust in this system that we know is fraudulent. We know that they've lied so much in the past and they want this president gone so bad. It could be crazy. It could just be a little conspiratorial, but I'm just saying, I'm just spitballing here. What would stop them from just flat out lying and saying that, yeah, Joe Biden won. Joe Biden won Pennsylvania. He won Michigan and Wisconsin. What? They could say Joe Biden won Florida. It's a miracle. He won Florida on election night. No mail-in ballots needed. What would stop them from saying that? I mean, you know that the majority of the reporting is going to come from ABC, CBS, NBC, whoever else does it, CBS or CNN. They're all going to report the same thing, right? We know that if President Trump does pull off the victory, they're not just going to, it's not going to be like 2016 where it caught him off guard. And they're like, wait a minute. Let's zoom in on that election map. What about that county outside of Philadelphia? Have the polling places closed there? They were trying so desperately to fix it. They're like, wait a minute, let's just squint our eyes and tilt our heads to the side and look at it differently. They're not going to do that this time. Just like they would not show him up in the polls. Even if he were actually up in the polls, do you think that they would report President Trump is leading in all these states? No. Just like they wouldn't report on the UAE and Israel normalizing relations, or Sudan and Israel normalizing relations, or all these peace treaties and all of this peace in the Middle East, peace in North and South Korea. They won't talk about it because it favors him. It shows him in a good light, which would make a potential voter consider casting a ballot for him, which is what they don't want. So they have to continue down this path of lying. So they lied Joe Biden in the first place. I'm pretty sure that's how he got the nomination. They screwed Bernie out of it. Again, well, Bernie's also weak and fake. He gave it to him. He didn't fight. But Joe Biden was given this opportunity. He's the chosen one, just like Hillary. So I think that the polls, they misled us. And I think that there's no way for us to really know. So we're still just kind of trusting to figure out, like, well, I mean, of course, if it says Trump wins in a landslide, if I'm wrong about all this and they say, actually, Trump won, he won pretty handily, we'll all just believe it. And this whole thing that I just said, this whole little spiel, we'll just forget about it. But I'm just saying, like, how do we know that we can trust the system of people that are reporting this? Like, who, just similar to like who fact checks the fact checkers, who controls these polls, who's delivering the information, how's it counted? I just don't trust any of it right now. Just seeing all the people in the little, I saw some images from, I think it was like at a Philly voting place. It just looked like a giant warehouse where a bunch of people were in there counting ballots. And it looked like a bunch of random people. They had a camera in there, is a news camera. I'm like, how do we know that that's being counted accurately? Because they have to count them by hand. So they're looking, seeing, oh, another Trump vote, another Trump vote. Well, let me go to the paper shredder over here. Who's controlling that? I get it. We got to have poll watchers here and there, and I just don't trust it at all. But it's outside of my control. It's outside of your control. I'm just saying we don't know how this is going to play out, so let's just stay tuned. And back to the shy voters thing again. The other thing to consider too is like so many people have woken up and they've seen the insanity. They've seen that the Democrats have shown us exactly who they are over and over and over, and people are finally starting to believe them. I think Ice Cube finally believes him. He says he doesn't like Trump. He didn't endorse Trump, but does that mean he didn't vote for him? I mean, think about it from his perspective. I know he's a rapper, he's a celebrity, he's an entertainer. We don't care what they think, blah, blah, blah. Actually, it's kind of important because he's going against the orthodoxy, the dogma that is Hollywood. If you're in the entertainment realm, you have to be a liberal. You have to. You cannot be conservative. You can't. And if you're a black rapper from NWA, you definitely can't be conservative. You definitely can't stand for law and order, right? That's their dogma. But Ice Cube's like, no, actually, I want to get something done. And he saw firsthand that the Democrats blew him off, and the Trump administration said, let's talk. Lil Wayne, the same thing. Now, Lil Wayne was obviously confident enough to endorse President Trump, take a photo with him. That's as good as an endorsement as you'll get, even though he didn't say, I endorse President Trump. He all but endorsed him. But Ice Cube and 50 Cent. 50 Cent's like, man, I don't like Trump. I don't like that MFer. He said something silly like that. But does that mean he didn't vote for him? He's not going to say that he did. But what he said the first time about the taxes, that was an awakening for him. He's like, wait a minute. I don't want to pay these taxes. I don't want to be 20 Cent. But because he had that pressure, because his handler, his Chelsea handler said, oh, I had to remind him he's black or whatever. He didn't respond to that, but that's a whole nother story. He publicly denounced the president, but he realized that two things can be true at once. He can still vote for the policies that make the most sense, but publicly say, no, no, no. So I guess there's that shy Trump voter, the fronter, the person that's fake about it, but they still are casting ballots. So how many millions of people out there are casting their ballot for the president right now? Ice Cube, I'm willing to bet. Why would he turn around and vote for Joe Biden when Joe Biden said wouldn't even hear anything he had to say about his contract with Black America? But the Trump administration did. I mean, you got a bunch of people that have come out and endorsed him. Brett Favre, Jay Cutler, bunch of people, man. And it's just, we're seeing it happen right now. So that's why, another reason why I just feel so good about it is I'm like, the right thing will happen. All of these crowds, the optics, you mean to tell me we're supposed to believe some little graphic on a TV screen that says Biden is up this percentage point over Trump? Like, why would you believe that with no evidence? The evidence is what you see with your eyes, not what is on television. If they tell you on TV, it's storming outside, it's raining, all you got to do is look out your window to confirm it and then make that decision. So when you look at President Trump's rallies, when you look at 50,000 people show up to Butler, Pennsylvania, a key battleground state where Joe Biden is from and is supposed to be up super big, why are all of the people at President Trump's rallies? If they're saying, oh, these states, they're going to be slim margins, it may be decided by a few counties, maybe like 20,000 voters. That may be the deciding factor in how the state votes, right? Okay, well, all you got to do is look at all of the rallies he's held in that state, like, and add them up. Okay, 50,000 in Butler. He had about 15,000 in Erie, Pennsylvania. He had this many in Scranton. You can just use your logic there and say, okay, it doesn't look like the polls are accurate because who are they polling? Like 80 senior citizens via home phone? Like, come on, man. These polls, garbage. Moving along, we're going to find out, because another big narrative is this election a referendum on President Trump, or is it a referendum on Democrats and the political establishment? and the global power structure that wants to destabilize and ultimately destroy the United States of America. Of course, the mainstream narrative is this election is a referendum on Trump, which is why Joe Biden always chants that corny slogan, like fight for the soul of this nation. Decency is on the ballot, right? How is it that they're saying, okay, well, it's a referendum on the president? I mean, look at his response to the pandemic and blah, blah, blah. Look at how he is so divisive and he's done this and he didn't take anything seriously and he didn't pay his taxes. And blah. I mean, look at the other side. Look at these COVID shutdowns. My goodness, look at the rioting over the summer. You mean to tell me the average person in the inner city is worried about what President Trump did with his taxes when he was a private citizen more than they're worried about their freaking business that got torched while the mayor said, stand down because Black Lives Matter. Also, we're going to paint it on the street. And if you try to reopen your business, we're going to put you in jail. And we're going to put you in jail in place of the criminals that we let out because we don't want them catching the virus. And oh, by the way, the looters and rioters that get arrested, Kamala Harris is going to bail them out of jail. But Trump's taxes, though, think about that for a second. What is more important to the average person? Their dinner table issues. Can they go to work? Can they go to school? Can they breathe oxygen and fresh air? Or are they being forced to wear a face diaper? What's more important to the average person? Not to mention, they laid it on super thick. The Democrats did when they won the House, and they had all the sham impeachment and investigations, and we're tying this up, and Brett Kavanaugh drank beer and he's a rapist with no evidence and blah, blah, blah. It's just people are catching on. They're tired of it. They're tired of it. Look at California. That's a prime example. The petri dish for all the communist experiments, universal basic income, and all the nonsense with illegal immigrants killing people. You mean to tell me that this is a referendum on the president because of how he handled the virus, which is a global pandemic, but it's only his fault. It's only the president of the United States' fault that people died in New York City, right? Do we really need to go down that path? Andrew Cuomo, nursing homes, putting COVID patients in there. Come on. What about all the people that died from suicide? What about all the people that died from clear alternate causes like a rollover car accident, but they tested positive for COVID 2 days earlier with no symptoms, but it's a COVID death? Come on. People see that. People miss what their life was like before the COVID shutdowns, when everybody realized and remembered that they had an immune system. So people are looking at that and they're like, okay, the Democrats are categorically insane. The economy was on fire. The economy was doing great. Record stock market, record low unemployment. Everything was fine until the virus showed up. Yes, people still had problems with the president, his tweeting and whatever, but they still loved their freedom. They loved their bank accounts. They loved what was happening with no wars. We were actually having peace. We still are. We don't have any wars. We're supposed to be at war with North Korea, according to the media, the dishonest people that we trust to deliver factual and balanced information. We're not at war. So people are looking at that, but they're saying it's a referendum on the president because of his pandemic response, because he said good people on both sides. Another flat out lie that they keep trafficking in and letting Joe Biden regurgitate in his ads with no questioning, nobody pushing back, nobody asking him to elaborate on anything that he's been accused of, anything that he said. No one's taking him to task. They handled this man with kid gloves, and they're trying to drag him over the finish line with fake polls and gaslighting, telling you he has the momentum. Joe is presidential. He's gonna heal this nation and build back better. The average person can see it because they're following people like me. They're following Anomaly. They're following all of these up and coming, bright, educated, thought-driven conservatives or liberals, even if you're talking about like somebody like Tim Pool, that are just simply telling the truth. Like, look at this candidate, Joe Biden. You're never going to see it on the news. But look at this. Look at this clip. Come on. Come on. He calls someone a dog-faced pony soldier. He said, Batacath care. Like, that's the guy you want negotiating with China. That's the guy you want negotiating with North Korea. That's the guy that you think is going to be able to. And I know Kamala Harris would actually be the person. Well, that's a whole nother can of worms, because people know how fraudulent and phony she is. Like I said, right after the vice presidential debate, Kamala Harris is uniquely unlikable. She is on par with Hillary Clinton. Like, she just can't read the room. She is so out of touch. She is such a phony. That laugh will make you throw up in your mouth. She is so fake. She's just so fake. All the pandering, Wakanda forever. Just cringe. She's a cringe person. That's the truth. I don't say it to be mean. I say it because it's true. And I'm speaking on behalf of millions and millions of people who see exactly what I do, Democrat and Republican. So I think people are paying attention. They're waking up and they're voting accordingly. They may never get the MAGA hat, but they are going to go in that booth today and they're going to say, what is important to me? I'm tired of these COVID shutdowns. I'm tired of the fear porn. I'm tired of them forcing me to wear a mask. I just want to live my life. I want to go back to the way things were. And things were pretty good, even though I don't like the way the president tweets. He says mean things. He doesn't act presidential. He's pretty tough with these other countries. And my 401k looks good. And, whatever. I mean, I'm talking like people have been buying houses. I bought 2 houses since this man has been in office. My mama has 4 houses with tenants. People are starting to see an uptick in their bank account. People are living their best lives. My job at Right Side Broadcasting literally exists because of this man being in the White House. For as much as people on the left hate him, they have swollen their bank accounts because he's in office. How many people wrote books about how much they hate the president? People getting book deals because he's in office. Even the people that hate him the most are benefiting from his presidency. It's in their best interest that he stays right where he is. I'm just saying. So while they're trying to make it a referendum on him, it's a referendum on the people who have the opposite doom and gloom message. Everything sucks. Everything's racist. Let's take down statues of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. Let's rearrange the dictionary. Let's put up stupid displays in the Smithsonian Museum that says being successful and happy and confident in yourself are white traits. Let's tell minorities that they're being hunted down. Let's have LeBron James tell black people that they're oppressed and they're being hunted down. Let's have Oprah say it. Let's have Michelle Obama go give commencement speeches at colleges saying, yeah, you're black, and no matter what you do, even with that degree, white people are going to stop you. Just despair and just doom and gloom and sadness. These people are so gloomy. The average person, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, nobody wants to hear that message. That message sucks, man. Come on. Meanwhile, people are fleeing these other countries trying to get here. These immigrants that they care so much about. Oh, we love the immigrants. Kids in cages. That's another hoax, another lie. We love the kids in cages. We love all these immigrants. Why do you think those immigrants want to come here? Why do you think they're willing to risk it all, being trafficked and moved up here by coyotes, paying all these ransom dollars, all the horror stories? It's a horror show at the border. At least it was. I don't know if it's still going on. Because freedom, because of the hope and opportunity that exists here in the United States of America. If we become like those other countries, then nobody can escape the hell that they're currently living in. That's what I'm saying. These people, it's insane. They want to make this country into a country like all these immigrants have fled from. Almost every single rally that I've attended, every single one. And I saw the peak of it when I was outside of the Walter Reed Hospital. The majority of the people standing outside of that hospital were immigrants. We interviewed hundreds of them, Vietnamese for Trump, Hindus for Trump. Hmong people for Trump, Japanese, Africans, Venezuelans, Cubans, man, people from Peru, all outside of Walter Reed Hospital. They're like, we love President Trump. We interviewed him. Why? Because he's only one that stands up for freedom. I came here 30 years ago. I fled communism from the Soviet Union or wherever, Eastern European tyranny. I fled that, and I'm here in the United States, and I see the Democrats are trying to take it away. I came here to build a better life. They're trying to destroy it. They're trying to take it away from me. I want this life. And President Trump is the only one that stands up for this country. He's the only one that believes in this country. So immigrants understand it. So why would the left, who we love immigrants, orange man bad, mean, and racist, but you want to destroy what immigrants came here for in the most literal sense, while these plagues of mobs go through these cities and crush these immigrant-owned businesses, destroying people's livelihoods. It is sad and sickening that all of these businesses, if they survived the COVID shutdown, and if they didn't get burned down during the George Floyd riots, now they have to board up again because certain people are not going to like the outcome of the election. I say certain people sarcastically because the media, again, our wonderful media, is making it seem like, why are they boarding up? What's going on? Are white supremacists in town to destroy Portland? That again, yeah. So they're worried about their businesses being destroyed because some people can't handle how the election might turn out. And it's obviously leftists. It's obviously these anarchists, these communists, these domestic terrorists that are going to go and destroy immigrant businesses. If they don't like the outcome of the election, that's what they're going to do. Destroy immigrant businesses, destroy Black-owned, Hispanic-owned businesses, go get free televisions from Target, get a dolly and wheel a new washing machine down the street because of a police shooting in Philadelphia that was 1000% justified. People see it. Immigrants see it. Black people see it. White people see it. Everybody sees it. On the other side, you have unity. You have people that smile, people that laugh, people that are having fun. It's like one big happy family. It's like almost like a little utopian, experience just to be at a Trump rally. Everybody's happy and joyful in there. Nobody cares who you married. Nobody cares what religion you are. All you got to care about is freedom, protecting freedom, live and let live. That's what the left was about, right? No, they want everyone crushed under their boot of control, controlling what you say online, controlling what you can put on your face, where you can go, how much money you get to have, what kind of car you can drive if they pass the Green New Deal. We're all going to be driving something uglier than the Prius. This is the America that is on the ballot, and their leader, their thought leader right now is Joe Biden. He's the front man. He's the ventriloquist dummy that will be controlled by the radicals, the actual communists, like his vice president, his running mate. I'm not going to call her vice president, his running mate, Kamala Harris, with her propaganda garbage that she put out just yesterday. They're saying the quiet parts out loud. They're introducing her as the next president. They're putting it right in your face. Communism is on the ballot. So is freedom. Immigrants know it. The Black community is catching on. We know it. We see it. We know what Democrat policies have done for half a century in Baltimore, in Chicago, in St. Louis, in Memphis, Tennessee. We see it. We don't care what Maxine Waters has to say when she's done zero, zilch, nada for her district, but she lives in a big old $16 million mansion outside of her district. These are certified poverty pimps that are trying to play gatekeeper, trying to play slave catcher, trying to corral people back onto their plantation of control. It's Maxine Waters. It's Nancy Pelosi. People are tired of the hypocrisy. They're so sick of, so don't ever let anybody try to tell you This is a referendum on Donald Trump. This election because of his COVID response. Okay, it's a global pandemic. He was so smart to call that out. No, this is a referendum on the insanity of these freaks on the left. And I'm not talking about everybody. I have to say that because I know I have liberal friends. I know people watch. Do you just think everyone's like that? No. If the shoe fits, wear it. I don't want to have to say some people every time. But goodness gracious, like, look at what has happened. Look at the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy. Nancy Pelosi not wearing a mask, going to get her hair done without a mask when salons are supposed to be closed. When you can't afford food, she's showing you her $1,000 ice cream collection in her freezer. Out of touch, hypocrite, career politician. Vote this woman out. Maxine Waters, the same thing. You get out and push back on them. She spearheaded all of the violence that we saw in 2018. Or was it 2017? Whenever she gave that unhinged speech and told all of those minions watching her to go and run Ted Cruz out of restaurants and surround Mitch McConnell's house and threaten Tucker Carlson's family, you push back on them, right? And this is where we are. This is where we are. People are tired of that. They're tired of the hypocrisy. Lori Lightfoot, that's another big hypocrite. Oh, you can't get your hair cut, but I can because I'm on camera. You better put on a hat. You better take one for the team. You don't get to go get your hair cut while your city is shut down. You got Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan running her own little mini dictatorship up there. And the Supreme Court up there smacked her down because of her unconstitutional, draconian COVID shutdown. She let her husband do all kind of stuff. It's rules for thee, not for me. The average person, whether they're Democrat or Republican, hates that. They hate it. They don't like it. And President Trump is the only one that calls it out. The media will never call it out. They'll never expose it. These hypocrites. I could go on and on and on. Chris Cuomo, hypocrite, caught without a mask. Fauci, caught without a mask. All these people that are telling you, you have to wear a mask until we say so. We don't need science to back it. We're just saying we're going to keep you safe from the virus. So you need to stay exactly 6 feet from the next person. If you're 5 feet from them, you're spreading the virus. If you're 6 feet, you're good. When you walk in the restaurant, you have to have your face covered. But as soon as you sit down, you're safe. You're not spreading the virus. The unscientific, like backwards thinking, the pseudoscience, it's not, people don't want it. People don't want it. They're rejecting it. They're going to vote Trump. We're going to see a landslide. I think that I'm just using affirming language, law of attraction. I believe it's real. It's going to happen. President Trump will win this election, but it's not going to be straightforward. It's not, let me just put it that way. I don't think it's going to be a thing where we look and we see, oh yeah, he won for sure. Handedly, he won. It's going to look like he won, and then they're going to slam on the brakes and be like, oh, wait, hold up. We need a recount. Luckily, Ron DeSantis in Florida, the biggest swing state where they've had so much election controversy in the past, he's been all over it. Fired that corrupt Brenda Snipes from, was it Broward County, Broward or Miami-Dade? I don't remember which county it was. Broward, I think. Fired her, cleaned house. I think Florida's going to be smooth sailing. Florida's going to be good. Now, the rest of the states, I think Arizona will probably be good too. But the rest of these swing states, they all have Democrat governors. They have a lot of things that they can do to try to muddy the waters and drag this out and make it's going to be contested. They're telling you this. They're telling you, by the way, this isn't my conspiracy theory. They're on record saying it. Hillary Clinton told Joe Biden not to concede no matter what. No matter if the people give a resounding yes, re-elect President Trump, Hillary Clinton said, don't concede. If we fight as hard as they will, if we fight as hard as they do, we will be victorious. Nancy Pelosi speaks so confidently. She's like, I know for a fact that Joe Biden will be elected on Tuesday, and the presidency isn't a geographic location. We will inaugurate him regardless. That's scary. The third most powerful person in the United States government is saying that Joe Biden will be elected no matter what. That sounds like a call to action. That sounds like a dog whistle to all the people that are going to go and destroy property tonight or tomorrow or this weekend. I pray for those of you that live in these liberal areas. If you live in Washington, D.C. or Chicago, I pray for you. I hope that your businesses are safe. I hope that you're at home. Stock up on food, stock up on ammo. Not to fearmonger, but you never know. I mean, they're obviously anticipating something. If they're boarding up buildings, like what? This is supposed to be the United States of America. They're worried about President Trump and his white supremacist supporters not accepting the outcome of the election. I guarantee you this, knock on wood, it's not going to happen. If President Trump were to lose the election, nothing's going to happen. You're going to get protests. Yes. You're going to get patriots protesting. Yes. But you're not going to get random businesses destroyed. Nobody's going to go torch AutoZone. Nobody's going to run out of Walgreens with a bunch of random knickknacks. That's not going to happen because that's not what common sense, high IQ people do. That's not what they do. It's just the mouth breathers, the people who are opportunists. It's a whole bunch of people that will tear stuff up if things don't go their way. They throw temper tantrums. They're worried about Trump not accepting the results. Hillary Clinton still hasn't accepted the results. Stacey Abrams still hasn't accepted the results. When they lose, they want to destroy things, whether that be let's destroy the Electoral College. Let's pack the Supreme Court. Let's end the filibuster. Let's open the borders. Let's get statehood for Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. because things didn't go our way in 2016. Things aren't going our way, so we need to change the rules since we can't win. That's what they do. It's projection. It's projection. They're worried about white supremacists. I'll tell you what. The safest place you can be in the United States of America during a tense time, during an election year, is in a conservative area. Mark my words, you won't hear any riots in Alabama, in Tennessee, in Arkansas. You will hear very little in Texas, even though Texas has a bunch of like Democrat cities. It's not far left. Austin, that's like the little People's Republic of Texas. But the rest of the cities in Texas, no, it's a law and order state. It's a Second Amendment state. You're not going to have that problem. You're not going to have it in Florida. You're not going to have it in North Carolina even. Where you're going to have it is where Democrats have a stronghold, where they have a supermajority. Look for Los Angeles to have problems. Look for San Francisco. Look for Seattle, Portland, Chicago, Minneapolis, New York City, Philadelphia. That's where you're going to have riots, looting, burning buildings. If anything were to pop off because of this election, it's going to happen in Democrat areas. Not a single liberal can prove me wrong. They can't. You have nothing on that. It is true. It's a fact. The crime and violence and hostility and anger and vandalism, it happens in Democrat-controlled areas. So the safest place you can be right now, if this election gets a little bit weird, is in a conservative area, an area that's law and order, an area that's Republican-controlled, an area that's got law enforcement and an armed populace. I think I've said everything I was going to say. And I did say at the beginning, this is going to be a short stream. I think you should know, like, a short stream for me is right around an hour, something like that. It's somewhere around there. But it's all projection, guys. It's projection. They're projecting their reality onto you. They're worried about voter suppression and voter intimidation. Neither of those things are true. I don't want to hear another word about voter suppression if we have record voter turnout prior to election day. There goes that argument, right? Voter suppression, they're still going to use it, though. They'll still use it. Oh, the polling place closed early. Republicans closed it early, and the black people couldn't get there in time because they don't know how to tell time or something backwards and racist. They'll use something to say like, well, the minorities couldn't figure out how to get there. They don't have cars. They don't know how to use their cell phones. So, me, my white liberal savior complex, I'm here to screech on the internet and virtue signal because I care about black people. But also I don't think they're really smart enough to handle election day. I don't know if they know how to vote in person. I might need to escort them. And if we lose, it's because the black and brown people couldn't vote. That's what they do. This is what they think. Again, it's projection. They're worried about Trump and white supremacists, but the most white supremacist people all voted for Joe Biden because they're identitarians. They believe that their whiteness or their blackness or whatever skin color they have, they believe that that is all that matters. And what does Joe Biden support? He supports critical race theory, he supports all of these far left beliefs of, identity should dictate everything. Race-based policy. That's what they support. That's what Kamala Harris supports. She just put out the propaganda of it all, that some people need to have things given to them based on how they were born, and some people, based on how they were born, are wrong, evil racists. So don't tell me who's on the wrong side of history here. They are on the wrong side of history. They're on the wrong side of this thing. That's why I just feel it in my gut. I feel it in my spirit. President Trump's going to get reelected. That's just the way it's going to go. Because what else is there? If the right thing can't happen with this much on the line, I think then we would probably start to lose a little bit of hope. But that's where God comes in. God doesn't make mistakes. This is all going to work out. So I should wrap up because I literally just got back from the airport. Like, I haven't even unpacked anything. And I got my buddy coming over shortly so we can watch all the festivities. And I want to do some more. Just analysis, even though it's probably all for naught, because you can analyze all day. You can crunch numbers and say, well, based on these numbers, this person should win this election. It's like, man, just like I said last night on the stream, like sports betting, you can say, like, look at the statistics of this team. They shoot this much from the perimeter and they score this much in the fourth quarter, blah, blah, blah. They could get blanked against a team that is terrible because they still have to show up and play the game. Just like you can do polling all you want. You can interview as many people as you want. But what matters is who shows up to vote on election day. That is the only thing that matters. Who shows up to vote, and will it be counted fairly? If it is counted fairly, and if everybody shows up that I've been seeing, President Trump will win the state of Minnesota. He'll win Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, Nevada, and Arizona. And New Hampshire. People forget about that one because he narrowly lost that in 2016. He'll win all of those. So I know I didn't really read the chat, or really, I didn't read it at all, but I thank all of you that have tuned in, everybody that has supported me. If you're new, if you're just seeing me for the first time, please, if you're on Facebook, obviously like my page, follow me on YouTube. That's where I'm really shadow banned, really suppressed. It's been that way for a couple years. Ever since I put those walkaway videos out, that's really kind of what got me on the map, you got exposure to the point where Mark Levin played my video on his show. After that, they almost kind of pulled the plug. I only had a handful of videos that got more than 5,000 views. So support me on YouTube. Follow me on all the other things. If you just type in Mike Nificent 813, I should pop right up on Parler, Twitter, Instagram, everything else. I think I'm on BitChute, but I don't know. Just search Mike Nificent or Mike Nificent 813. I guess I will read a few comments because I did get some super chats. I do need to acknowledge that. Nicholas says, you've done such a great job covering the campaign. Thanks. Thank you. Xavier Park, what's up, my man? Appreciate you. And for the other people that super chatted, oh no, I know those came in earlier. Maybe I can scroll back up and find them. Bummer. If you're still watching, I do appreciate you for donating and supporting me. I have not been able to go live or do any pre-recorded videos because I've been on this campaign trail. I've been out here working to get the truth out there, to get this president reelected, to save our sovereign nation state, free republic where everybody in the world wants to live because it's that free. I think it's worth preserving. I think that it's important to ensure that our kids and our Kids will have as much freedom, at least as much freedom as we have right now. Because just like what I would tell people with these COVID shutdowns, it's like, yeah, you want to protect people, you want to keep people safe from a virus, you want to save lives, but there's this such thing as quality of life. What is the point of being alive if you're just going to be a slave? Give me dangerous freedom over peaceful enslavement 7 days a week. 7 days a week. I don't want the lockdown. I don't want to wear a face mask. I just think it's the COVID thing. It's a referendum on COVID for sure, but it's the other way. Because President Trump said, hey, we're going to let the states and counties handle it how they see fit. Hey, Kristi Noem, you want to keep South Dakota open because you don't even have like 2 million people in the whole state? Go ahead, keep the state open. Let's try to keep our economy afloat the best way we can. We don't need to use some one size fits all policy. You don't need to socially distance in Wyoming the way you do in New York City. I mean, again, common sense. Does it really take a galaxy brain to figure that out? Come on, man. Come on, man. Charles said, Mike, thank you. And God bless my friend. I sent you Daisy Cousins, ABL and Jericho Green an email earlier. We will prevail. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, man. God bless you. God bless everybody that has tuned in, everybody that is watching me, no matter if you're watching from California or New York or the Sunshine State of Florida. I appreciate y'all. And if you haven't voted yet, get yourself out there and vote right now. Come on, especially in Florida. Get out there and vote. Let's have Florida be one of the first states called. If Florida is one of the first states called, we can feel really, really, really good about that, because every single president that has been elected for I don't know how long, but going back a long ways, has not been elected without winning the state of Florida. For as much as they're saying Trump needs Pennsylvania, Biden needs Florida. Trump needs Florida too, but they don't want to talk about what Biden needs. They want to say what Trump needs. Last time I checked, he's the incumbent. He's the one that's got the massive rallies, the massive crowds. They think he's trying to steal the election with Vladimir Putin. You think he's worried about losing support when he flies over country and they're like using their riding tractors to cut Trump 2020 in their yards and all that stuff? He shows up to a rally. He goes to the hospital and thousands of people are standing outside of a hospital. You think he's worried about losing support, so he's going to rig the election? Again, projection. They're projecting. They're worried about losing. They're worried about them cheating. It's like the spouse that accuses their husband or wife of cheating, but it's them that's cheating. That's the same thing. That's what they're doing. They're worried about conspiracy theories, like Russia collusion wasn't a conspiracy theory that they talked on for 3 years straight. Let me quit. I could just talk forever and ever. Appreciate you guys. Thanks to everybody that's tuned in. If you're on YouTube, make sure you give me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, follow me everywhere. I will probably check back in at some point later today, if not tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. God bless you guys. Let's win this thing. The best is yet to come.